What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. I'm joined by PA brethren. I got Curt DeLattre on the other side from Ridge Raised Outdoors. Curt, it's always great to see you pop up on my Facebook. Those of you, yes, I still got Facebook. I'm the old guy, 37 years old, still do it for Antler Up type stuff. I love seeing you and the family pop up, and you get a text message around this time of year too from you here and there. So, man, I'm pumped that we finally get a chance to catch up, dude. So, welcome back to the show. Yeah, dude, it's been since 2022 since we last recorded. Number one, number two, we discussed rut stuff, so we're not going down that rabbit hole. We both seem to have a really fun hunting season last year, from whitetail to chasing turkeys. So I am really, really excited about this conversation, just because so much has happened, not only in the woods, out in our own personal lives, all that fun stuff. So this is a good one, because we're getting right into this weekend. Actually, if you live in one of those special units, you're going to be hunting. So if you listen to this podcast on Wednesday when this drops, you have that opportunity to potentially already have maybe killed your target buck you've been keeping tabs on all summer long, or something along those lines. So it's going to be a good conversation. I'm excited to get into some of that stuff, dude. I'm Dude, I'm fingers crossed, because I know when we first were mentioning that to each other, there's like some event that my daughter's doing, and all that type of stuff. And so I'm going to that right now. If it doesn't happen, like, I think there's some cornhole little thing that's a fundraiser, and she's selling these little natural body scrub stuff that her and her friend are doing, and she has her own little magic scrub, she's calling it. I got her little stickers to go with it and all that type of stuff. So she's pumped, and I want to be there to support her. But I'm still waiting to hear if it's actually happening. So it could be a last minute where I'm going to go meet up with some good friends on the eastern part of PA, where 5C, where it opens up. And so who knows, man. So good luck to you this weekend. I'll keep you posted. But if not, I think this Sunday I'm actually going to meet up with a good friend, Taylor. We're gonna go trek around some public land. I know it's a little late, but we're gonna try to do a hunt together, he and I, on a big state forest chunk, and haven't had the opportunity to really get together. He has, but we want to just do a quick little speed scout together. So hopefully, regardless, I'll be in the woods this weekend doing something. But yeah, I'm excited to see what you get into. How is that normal for you to get out this early to that early season? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Make long story short,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the really neat thing about some of these getting out early in September and putting out, even if you go to Maryland, do an early season hunt where you could get like 30 doe tags, it seems like you're just like, hey, you get one and you multiply that then by like 10. You get that many more, basically, it seems like in that state. But, that's actually a really, man, I can't stress on like that confidence boost that you really do get. I mean, even for me last year, like that first sit that I had, I didn't get a chance to hunt that first opening day, like statewide. And on Saturday, we actually had our baby shower. My wife had her, like the one here locally. And I was like, oh, no, no big deal. It ended up being like really crappy weather anyway. Yep. And so that Monday, it got hot again. I, I zoomed home as fast as I could. Basically, I had my quick stopped at the house, grabbed my hunting stuff, went to the piece. I was like, I know I could get in here pretty quick and quietly. It's not far in. Just see what we got. I know the deer moved pretty well there, and I had deer all night. I actually had like a young buck making a rub. I could hear him. I didn't get a chance to really see him because of the canopy, but I heard that. I just looked and I just saw the tree swaying, and I was like, that's probably one of those little guys that I've been seeing. And then had a couple doe, and the bigger doe that I really wanted to get a crack at, she didn't really present. And then it was like, I think the year prior's yearling, the one that I ended up shooting at, but made a pretty good shot and watch her come barreling through underneath me and everything like that. And, pile up. I'm like, all right, cool. This is what a great start to the season, but it's just one, building that confidence. But then, like you were saying, testing out the beast broadheads, what a chance to get even more confident in your equipment, making sure things, work basically, and get the cobwebs out of the bow, the cams and everything. Yep. Hmm. Hmm. Well, dude, and we're gonna dive down even into this piece later in the conversation. But even for that, but if you sell film of any sort, whether you're using just like a little mini action camera or a full fledged setup, that's also the big thing. Like, there's been times where it's like, okay, I got right up, all great muscle memory, like you were just saying, Curt, where the sticks are up, my, just feel good as far as the mobile setup goes, and then it's like, now I got to do this camera arm. I hope I set it up correctly again, and so that's also important to practice right before the season as well. I know, hopefully, if you're listening to this, if you haven't had a chance to hunt yet, you're practicing obviously your shot angles, all that type of stuff. But if you are doing any sort of filming, heck, even if it's the extra camera on your hat, like practice hitting that button just to make sure. Because, dude, that first hunt, like I mentioned, I got all wrapped up. I got a instant 360 camera last year because I was like, oh, this will be easy. I just hit the record button and let it rip. And, dude, I didn't even do that. I got in the heat of the moment, and I just, dude. So, like, exactly, you got to practice every little thing and get those muscle memories. Because then it was finally that third sit for me is when I finally was able to hit that record button and get something finally on camera. So, real quick about those beast broadheads, just because obviously I love talking gear and all that type of stuff. You get two broadheads and then you get that practice tip. How has that been flying and everything? Because you did make a video on it. So, I'll give a quick shameless plug. Like, that's the one thing I like. I was telling you even before we hit the record, Curt, where I like digesting your style of media, like whether it's yourself or other people that put stuff out there. You started messing around with doing some of those type of videos as well, because I like making those. I like doing, hey, this is this piece of equipment or whatever it is. How has that practice head been flying? Have you had a chance to even use the actual head? Like, tell me a little bit more about that specific broadhead. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's exciting stuff. Anytime you have something new that you really want to get a crack at and see how it performs, that's the exciting thing. And it doesn't have to be on the hunting side of things. Like I'm the same way, even with my bows. When this past summer of testing it out on a 3D course of, I've talked about this before on the podcast, where when I was talking to my buddy Tanner Adams and then also Nate Sellers from Average Jack, when they both were like, how did your bow perform under pressure? And I said in the beginning, like, I didn't quite understand. I was like, dumb it down for me, fellas, a little bit. Like, remember, you're talking to a phys ed teacher here, and it was interesting to see how, like, just a little flinch, you know what I mean, of just of your wrist or your grip hand, and just maybe the pressure of like just how things go in those heat of the moments. And it is fascinating to me, and that, like, really, I mean, obviously for me, man, that's where I really nerd out about the saddle hunting stuff, just because I really found a obviously being an educator, especially in physical education, like in that PE realm, like I love that physicality of teaching people things like that. And that's where, man, I could nerd out all day long about that stuff, and learn too. Like I love hearing how other people do it, because it's not like my way is not the end all be all. You know what I mean? Like I like to learn how guys are doing this hybrid hunting style stuff, just because it's fascinating. It's what I enjoy. But yeah, I'm excited to see how those heads perform. And just because, man, like I forget the individual that who is also, I think, help come up with this design, because I know it wasn't all just him. I think there was do you happen to remember? Yeah. I know. Mhm. Right. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yeah, and like not to, continue on down that rabbit hole, like, but I do think that guy that is helping him, like that, like you said, that engineer, I think from what I remember and have heard people, he's a very respected individual, and really, like, people you listen to what that dude has to say. So yeah, I'm excited to see what happens, man. And then, before we move on with that, have you always been a mechanical guy, or tried the single bevels and solid head, like anything, the fixed blades? Have you gone down any of that rabbit hole? Like, because I've tinkered a little bit, and I just continuously go back to my mechanicals. I just feel most confident in using those compared to a fixed head, just because I'm not confident I'm confident enough, but there's so many better tracker individuals out there, and I get too like tunnel vision, I guess you could say. And it's like, I got to find this deer, and I could totally be missing something. And it's just, the blood trails have always been so much better, obviously, with mechanicals. And, again, I'm not a pro shooter by any means. And, there's been certain hits where I've been saved by a mechanical or anything along those lines. Not saying I'm taking a stupid shot, but, a couple years ago, I did struggle with target panic and, maybe rushed a few times or forced a few things and all that type of stuff. And, those can help out a little bit in that nature. I've taken so much more time and practice to not have those situations, and last year paid off, like I said, with my season. So have you gone down that rabbit hole, or what have you stuck with, and anything along those lines?
Sure. So obviously started out with the range, still
Yep.
Start with extremes. The biggest spot 40-yard shot. Page opened up. He ran like 400 yards. So I think jugular or something, because we all say it, but I'm telling you, this someone I think rushed just went like this through the door.
Jeez.
I found him the next morning. It wasn't my fault. He made a really good shot, but he just turned.
Mm-hmm.
And then shot those for a long time. And 2 or 3 years ago, I think 3 years ago.
Okay.
And they're pretty long. We'll deal with those big one trail fixed. And then the 1 year I did shoot a nice buck. Made a bad shot. And again, like a lot of other people say, I'm just not the best shot. Good shot. I got a camera in my hand. I'm not making excuses either, but I'm just not a professional shooter, so stuff happens.
Mm-hmm.
Takes a step, whatever the case may be. I just try to take all of that shoot. But this instant, the deer took a step, hit him back a little bit, got decent blood for 50 yards, and then it started pouring down. So I couldn't really help it from there. I probably should have went in, but after an hour of tracking them, I just kind of gave up. And I went back a dozen times to try to find the deer. So confidence was pretty low. Then went back. Would have been last.
Mm-hmm.
And then those still going to shoot those. Really good blood trail on the last year. Shot at quarter to ball. Came in, running them in, and he came straight down the trail. 12 yards. He turned a little bit, so I think the sever did his job. It went right through the whole way up through and almost to the whole other side. He ran about. I mean, I've always been.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always to try anything, you know,
Yep.
really fall into that single level heavy all that stuff. So when I was confident, and that's the big thing. And
Yeah, you didn't become a big old fairy, did you? No, man, that's good stuff, dude. And I it is fascinating just because there was, and I've had I've I mean, if I've had those moments where I've used a broadhead where one time I killed a doe with it or another animal, whatever it be, and it performed flawlessly. And I've shot another one where it's just, I know it was me, and that's like, where's the blood on this one? I thought I hit the perfect spot. I thought I heard the pop and everything like that. And I'm looking around, I'm like, I don't see a dang thing, and it's just it's weird. And yeah, man, I'm with you on that one. And like, so just to kind of give you a little bit, had a ton of success and growing up and everything like that, and it just seemed like I started this, I did well. It's as soon as I back in 19 killed a nice PA mountain buck and all that stuff, and then the next couple of years, man, I was like, oh, missed a deer, didn't see anything. And then, like last year, I killed 5 deer total in the state of Pennsylvania in 2.5 weeks. And, again, like my thing was I was more thrilled, obviously, being efficient, like with my hunts. I was like 7 hunts and five tags filled, and was able to spend a lot of time then with my family. Like I earned a bunch of brownie points that way, everything. And, but like going into that, it could take a toll on an individual depending on your goals are, how much you love this. And if you're anything like me, man, it's, you love this passion, you get anything that I do, man, I've always had family members joke and bust me. They're like, dude, you love to sprint before you could even crawl. I'm just like, no matter what it is. And it's just how the type of personality I have. And I really just focused on just slowing it down, and something that you said of enjoying it on some of your videos, and just slowing down and enjoy it with friends, enjoy it with family, and just be thankful for everything that's around you. And that's the mentality of continuing on this year. Whether that makes me successful, I don't know, man. Right. And but I'm going in with that same mind frame this year. How did you, over those last couple of years, like you were just saying, like you had opportunities and just missed opportunities of maybe not recovering and all that stuff, or really grinding through that a year of a tough hunting season, basically? And because you're a good hunter, you know what I mean? Like you know that, and it could play tricks on you a little bit. So coming into, say, last year or this season, like where are you at, man, mentally? Just because it is important to talk this about it.
Yeah, I think this is the best mentally where I've been. Just
Yeah.
service. Really, really rough. I'm able to take breath.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
honest with you, like, I think they spook you, and unless you hang them, which I do, but I actually think they make me worse about it. And I think that's why I struggled with last year. I ran a few, but I killed 3 of my biggest deer. I killed 3 of my biggest deer in the state of PA. With no prior knowledge of the area, no trail camera history. We just walked in the woods. Maybe a little bit of scouting, in the summer. Just go in there. A lot of guys talk about sign. Absolutely. Just going in, just instinct of being. I think I'm in the right area. Just sat last year. I'd never been in that spot in my life. Went in, across the creek. I got in that spot where there was like a little orchard. Trails met. And this looks pretty awesome. 45 minutes later, I shot buck. It's like, man, like, to be honest, that's my favorite type of thing. Stress myself out, chasing a specific deer, which I've done in the past. Extremely state of the especially on public. But, man, that's the way I want to get going. Like, obviously running cameras, no one some of those
Yep. Dude, 100%. And that's where, like how you even just like brought up like the cameras and hunting like a specific deer. Dude, that's why even to this day, there's one deer back at home I've talked about for the last 4 years, man, where I would love to get after him, but it's like, I don't lose sleepless nights. Like if, you know what I mean? Like if you hunted across the street from that mountain and you're like, hey man, I finally killed this dude, I'd be so jacked. I'd be like, could I just come put my hands on him? You know what I mean? Like I like, he doesn't have a name. We just call him like the Big Nine, even though he's probably like a 13 or 12 by now or whatever he is. And it's just like, people are like, hey, did he come back? I'm like, not yet that I know of. Like, hopefully he made it. And they're like, oh man, I hope that'd be cool. But you know what I mean? Like, honestly, like I want my dad to kill him. My dad's had 2 friggin' chances already at him. Like I would think it would be cool for him to finally close that book, but I'm with you, man. Like that stuff, it's just, I just want to go. I want to be efficient and I just want to enjoy it. It just makes it that much sweeter. I've said on the podcast about last year's buck story, when I was able to kill that doe before and then 10, 15 minutes later to kill him and know I doubled up, and just thinking about, dude, just thinking about the color of the orange and yellow leaves, the smell of it, and calling my dad and being like, you got to come down here, man, and come help me out, dude. And having that moment with him, Curt, I probably don't have to tell you this, because I'm sure you like dealing with everything that you have dealt with, man. I'm thinking to myself, I'm 37 right now, and I just got to be thankful for every chance I get. You know what I mean? And if that means I'm whatever it is in the hunting thing, great. But like my main priority right now is my family. You know what I mean? And just, am I doing okay as a human being and all that type of stuff? And again, that is where I'm at mentally, even going into this year. I just want to have fun and make memories with my buddies. Like I know, like how we were saying earlier about this weekend with the special unit, man, I want to be there 100% for my daughter and everything like that. And if that happens, then I'm going to be stoked. I can't wait. And if I have the chance where my wife's like, yeah, if it doesn't happen and you want to go hunt with, Jim and Josh, like Jim and I have hunted Delaware before. I'm trying to even think. That's how, yeah. And we really haven't hunted like PA together. And we're like we're best friends. And he was like, dude, where do you want to, if you come, what's your game plan? I'm like, dude, I want to be in the same tree. Like, I want to, You know what I mean? Like I don't care what it is. And he's like, well, if one of these, there's like two deer up there that were like he and Josh. It's a private piece, and they were like, they're both of them are yours, dude. We're not going to shoot them if you have every chance. If you get one, if you want to. I was like, oh my gosh, I would 100%. I don't care if it's the first day of this early season, whatever. Just to know that like Jim was in the tree, like right next to me, like that would be a that would make my year. You know what I mean? Type for hunting. So, and dude, it's just to be efficient though, and have that mind frame going into it, because that was my thing last year, and to kind of go back to the camera thing, I use them for exactly what you were kind of saying, like keeping tabs on here and for things here and there. I mean, it just for me, it's more so for like that future, and that's why, that's helped me transition my mind to knowing that I could potentially use it for this year, but it's like it's mainly for the years to come. So that's why I don't let it wrap me up into right now, because I agree with you, dude. I was in your shoes 100%. Like you said, it made me a worse hunter, I thought, because it's like I'm bouncing here, I'm going there, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. It's kind of like the couple years ago when mobile became huge and people were like, you became almost too mobile, right? So it's like you became too reliant on those trail cameras. I know.
Thing that cameras do for me is to
Mm-hmm.
help me work on the story. Well, anyway, I'm using cameras, and that's why I love running standard SD. I'm using them for historical data,
Mm-hmm.
then figure out for years to come. The area is November 2nd through the 5th. Yeah, that area is hot in October. Then I use that historical data. This I always have my notes in my phone, so I
Mm-hmm.
use those notes. This date, a good wind, if I get good weather, and that's what I did last year. Historical data. Seems like those areas are within 2 to 3 days of each other producing. So
Yep.
that's the way. That's the reason.
Yeah, and that helps you, like exactly what you're saying. Like your plan is of going into these spots, like kind of like, I don't want to say blindly, because you have some old intel on it, but it's allowing you to get in there, and you're like, okay, this I haven't seen a fresh pile of poop in the last 100 couple of yards. I'm going to just keep going until I find what I need to find, and then you'll stumble upon what you need to find, and that's still the unknown. You know what I mean? And that's the fun part. Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, I do want to know a little bit more, because I remember, as you brought back earlier, you mentioned your that first hunt, because I remember that video, like you posted it that early, and I remember just being like, oh man, like what a banger of a start. Killed the doe, but he saw so many deer. He had those cool encounters. So you really, the light bulb went off for me, and I was like, oh yeah, you did have those chances. And I do remember you like getting after it and telling a little bit, like just following along on your Instagram stories of like, man, had a really cool stuff. And then of course you had the successful hunt that you had. Tell us, I guess, then about that nice big buck that you're just, alluded to.
Yeah. So, 2022 went in there. This is the same spot. So new from historical data, but it was straight trails and straight. Camera there, and 27, which I killed at 10-1.
Mm-hmm.
This area, so I don't know, 27. So I know this area within a couple hundred yards. It's really, really good. trail camera data. 27 through like November 6th or something. So I went in, did a hang and hunt. Was able to get this one spot. There's a hemlock, and then there's. But anyway, 10 points, about 35 yards to shot. So I hunted that spot a few more times. Some really good ones. Really cool deer up in there. Just real cool. Like,
Yeah.
really missed a deer. Really big one right before the same year that just a rough year.
Mm-hmm.
Just one of those years. Never hunted all year. Went in there October 30th, and this year, the year before, it was so get a 2 or 3 day window. Went in there, got off work like noon or something, real early. Did a hang. Man, got in there at 1 o'clock or at 1:30. Did a hang and got my stuff set up. To make a long story short, just hung my bag, camera ready to go, my bow's right behind me, hung up, and I heard a punch. I'm like, okay, it's 1:55 in the afternoon, right in the middle of the day, and it was, probably in the 50s, not too cold, not too hot, probably in the 50s. It was going to cool off that night. Wanted to get in there real early. Heard a crunch, turned behind me, and that 10 point is standing 15 yards behind me. The same one I saw the year before. Guarantee it was the same buck. It was within 10 yards of the year before, 2 days. Same dark chocolate rack. This year, he absolutely, would have been last year, he absolutely blew up. He had like 7 or 8 inch brow tines and 5 on each side. So he was just a mainframe 10, just absolute giant. Probably in the 150s, I'd say. And I'm not over-exaggerating either. So I turned around real quick, grabbed my bow. Right now, he's 5 yards coming straight at me. And it's funny I say this because I'm not a really big scent guy. I run scent on my scrapes and things, but I don't do like the dough and beat stuff. I had some Tink 69 on my boots. I'm like, whatever, I'm going to try it. Threw some on my boots, walked in, and I don't know if he came into that scent or what, but his nose was on the ground. Now he came the opposite way from where I walked in, but nose to the ground, and I heard him sniffing. He was so close. He ended up coming underneath my stand. I went to draw back. Jeremy, I didn't have my release on. Fail. So, dude, I hung my bow back up. He's underneath me at this point. I could have jumped on his back. And, with his frame being out 20 inches wide, biggest deer I've ever seen that close. Underneath me, I go in my pocket to get my release on, tighten it up, grab my bow. At this point, he's only probably 6 yards. I go to draw back. I'm getting ready because he's straight. His back is straight at me. I don't have a shot yet. I waited for him. He only needed to take like 3 steps to turn to get him broadside. Wait. He turns broadside. I'm about to draw back like this, and he just goes straight up at me. I don't know if he saw my sticks. Don't know what happened. Bolted out of there. Jumped like got out of hell. Never saw him again. And I hunted the rest of the evening. Never saw him here. Blew at, did all that stuff out of my life. So There's my story about rookie mistake, no release on, but I don't wear my release when I'm doing a hanging hunt. I don't want it clinking around.
Right.
I just set my camera arm up, just hung my bag up, ready to turn around to get my release on. Sit, be still. He comes walking behind me at 1:55 in the afternoon. October, not even, right in the middle of the day. So, don't know if that buck got killed. No idea. But all I know is they know how to hide there. The year before I saw him, And this is why we go back to that story that I was able to see him there. And I actually had him the year before that. He's been a 10-point his whole life. Had him like right at the end of October, around that area, the year before.
Right.
So that's why I knew to go in 2 years. And then last year I went in. Man, between that 2 to 3 day window was when that area
blows up.
No cameras this year in there. Not even going to worry about it. I'm just going to go in there, hunt that certain specific area and see if maybe he made it. I don't know. Don't really care, but I know there's big deer in there. So,
dude, that fires me up. That's exciting stuff. And here's the other thing: from even the cool thing about areas like that, like how you said, deer just thrive in those areas, right? Well, it's a great hiding spot. They're maybe away from pressure, bedding, all that food, whatever that the lay of the land has for that. When you have a big deer like that, pretty good high percentage chance. Obviously, it's very unpredictable, but how many times does a nice big deer, if that one doesn't make it, another one moves in? Do you know what I mean? Like you said, you don't have cameras. You don't know what the heck's going on in there. Maybe that deer did not survive, but guess what? You might have another freak that just decided to be like, I like this. You know what I mean? And
that's why I'm not even worried to run cameras in there, because one, I don't care, and two, I know where to be now. I know if I just set up, and we're both friends with Moose. He's one of those guys that just, if you find a good pinch, it's not really a pinch or funnel. It's just, man, it's just an area where they love. They have thick cover. There's a lot of water around there. So I just know if I set my butt in there from the 28th or 30th until November 2nd, I'm gonna kill one in there. I don't even care to run cameras. Don't worry about it in there. Just go in there.
Yep. That's, dude, when you're walking in and you just see that first monster rub, you're going to be like, let's go.
Yeah. Or I walk into that spot and I see that the scrapes freshened up. I'm like, just like last year, I'm like, there's 2 scrapes right where I was going to sit. They're both fresh. I'm like, this is it. We're going right here.
Yeah.
So, it's exciting.
That is, dude, that fires me up so much. I love it. So, we were talking about that end of October. Last time, like I said, we had you on, we were talking rut. What about this early season stuff? Like, do you have goals going into it right now? Like like you said, obviously you're going out this weekend. Unless it's a nice, really, big buck that gets you really fired up, you're going to let one rip. But if you have encounters and all that stuff, observe. What is your mind frame going into, I guess, like the year as far as that goes? Just because, like, do you have any specific strategy that you really hone in on or want to maybe try or try to get better at? Just because, like, again, it's good time to get out there. Like for me last year, it was like, I want to focus on seeing how deer really, like, I never really took the chance of like focusing on browse. Like, is it the acorns? Is it just, like just whatever deer maybe were eating in certain locations where I lived. And I really put time and effort into that early season. So like, that's what I did last year. Like, are you doing anything new this year? Do you have a mind frame of like, I'm trying this, anything like that for this year, Curt?
Yeah. So to be honest with you, that's a great point, because my goal, even last year, especially this year, is I want to make myself better. It's not that I want to go out and shoot 140 deer a week. Probably not going to happen in public. And I commend those guys that have private.
Oh yeah.
Plant food plots, do this and do that. Those, man, like, I don't talk bad about anybody, especially.
That's another beast.
Man, those guys put in work. I don't have that luxury, but still want to be better early season hunter in the sense of, seeing deer and seeing specific deer, maybe have some encounters, maybe sit back and seeing where these deer come out of their beds. I've said that, but it's like, man, I think I just need to get close, push in a little bit to where they get in that swamp. But I've said it for the last year or so that I want to be better for the season. But I have 2 spots. I hunt, 85% of these 2 spots. One's a big apple orchard,
Mm-hmm.
so I'll probably try to hit that up early season. And then the other spot has just been raining. Could be a good thing, could be a bad thing, but
Right.
that's one spot I have a camera. Get pretty good, consistent moving through there. Basically all day. Like even if I get a packet, 3 or 4 does or something, that's pretty good. Trying to get closer to where I can get that big buck on the seat to get a chance. The thing about it is I got to fight pressure in this spot because Amish around here, and then there's just people that comment on you, even though you don't see tree stands or whatever. I've had it before where I go in, get a tree stand up, we would hang, and I have some.
Right.
So this spot. So again, that's why I don't get close to cameras chasing you.
Yep.
You never know what happens. 2 weeks into the season, you might have that issue.
Yep, no doubt. Dude, and that's the one thing that over the last year I've tried to reprogram my brain with a little bit as far as everything too, is just because at some point, like if it's like, okay, October 24th, right? Like things start heating up, like scrape week and all that type of stuff. And it's like, deer, they have to come from somewhere. So where are they coming from? Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's where I've always struggle with. It was just like, I feel like it's just, they're ghosts. They show up wherever. And it's like throwing a pin at the map, like wherever, like, and that's where I've really tried to get better at. And whether it's encounters, whether it's like you were just mentioned earlier, throwing an SD camera, let it sit there for a year type of ordeal, that type of stuff. Because man, that's where I'm with you on that stuff, because I just want to get better. You know what I mean? And it's they're coming from somewhere. So try to get in there and figure out where that is, and without obviously trying to put that pressure on and all that type of stuff. So it's you gotta be a little, it's fascinating to me to see, like last year, like I said, with the one location that I killed on public land near my house, I scouted it. I want to say like in April, or no, because it would have been more March, because it was chilly and everything. And I was like, hey, a couple good scrapes in here. And it was early season. We had that first major cold front, like that first, not opening weekend, but the next weekend, basically. And I just remember being like, all right, I found a couple scrapes in this one vicinity. I'm going to give that a go. It's cold. It's a little bit of rain. See what happens. Went in there, bone dry, but there was acorns. And I was like, I still like this setup. The wind still is good. I think I'm going to still see something. And I did, right? Like, and that's where that played a role into that situation. So it's like, I didn't do a ton of scouting this year. Didn't have the time, but I'm going off of that historical stuff. But yeah, man, once you could like kind of reprogram your brain, though, going back to that of how you think and do that, it definitely helps. I mean, like, what were we talking about this morning? On drop my daughter off at school. So the three of us are in the car. We were saying, I was like, well, Nora was like, how come sometimes my daughter, she goes, how come it's warmer at night when it's still dark out, and once the sun comes up right away, it's still kind of like it gets cold for a hot second. You know what I mean? I was like, well, honey, that's like the thermals. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? And we were like talking about that, and I was explaining that, and Heather's like, how do you know that? I was like, well, I said, I'm starting to learn this more, obviously, with the deer hunting things. And she's like, well, when have you kind of really put that into play? And I was like, honestly, like consciously and really making it like a thing, I was like, probably the last like 2.5 years. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I just go somewhere where I had the time to hunt. It was like, I'm going here or whatever. I should have done a better, like, dude, I got lucky on so many times. You know what I mean? I can't say it's because I was a good hunter. It was, dude, I got lucky. And like I said, the last 2 years, because I told her, like I said, 2 years ago, I had great encounters archery season, just didn't get a chance to kill one. Last year I made the most of it. So it was like, things click a little bit. And so it's just, reprogramming it. It just helps. And it's, again, just the time on stand, time in the woods, all that type of stuff. And if you just got to make the most of it when you have those chances.
Yeah. And I think you made a pretty good point. I go back on years past and things like that I used to do, those mistakes, those mess ups. And I learned from that. And a lot of these guys that I listen to, I take little bits and pieces of some of these sayings, videos. Man, like those mistakes that you made, you makes you. I think those mistakes, like the old me, 4 or 6 years ago, maybe even a couple years, 3 years ago, I would have went into some of these spots early, those early October days, and it's like being here somewhere. Well, some of those spots just aren't good until the end of October.
Exactly.
And I was in there burning these spots, and it's like, am I seeing 4 points and 6 points and does? It's because those big boys are in that area, and I was able to 2 years ago wait till the end of October next year, wait till the end of October. I almost killed 10 points in 2 years. So what am I going to do this year? Wait till the end of October to go in there. That's why I haven't stepped foot in there. Really scouted it. I know where to be. That's why I'm not trying to camera. I know certain spots because you know where to be in spot. That scouting goes off. That's why that historic that. Those mistakes hopefully will be.
Yep. The PP, I say it, man, it's the PP, the patience and persistence, right? No doubt about it.
It takes like mental toughness too, because
big time
at work, they're like, going out tonight, or going tonight. Hey, I went here and this and that. My camera's going off or whatever. That's why the cell cameras to me, like, are just gonna go. Because like, I'll make decisions, that I probably shouldn't be making. Oh, there's a big deer hit a scrape last night here. I'm going to go back there. Usually with those cell cameras, you're a day late. So
100%.
I think just hunting off instinct and historical data is just what I'm going for.
Yeah, dude, and that's where I think too. It's vital to have like a good friend that could put you in your place, and like quit telling you to quit overthinking things and just be like, dude, how about you just do this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I could vividly remember a conversation that I had over lunch one time with Tom Run Scavenge, and I was like, kind of like what we were saying a couple years ago, where I was a worse hunter because of using the cameras and just chasing my tail, all that type of stuff. So I was like, dude, I'm getting pictures here, and here, and here. What should I do? And
where do I go?
Yeah, exactly. And Tom was just like, dude, where's your gut telling you? I'm like, my gut's telling me to, but, and he's like, just stop. What's your gut telling you? I think that's a good plan, man. Just go do this. And you know what I mean? It's just, and having someone that is kind of detached from that situation and the hunts and all that type of stuff, but could, is very truthful to you. I'm very grateful for my friends. No doubt about that regarding that aspect of things.
Yeah. Look at the success that, guys like Dan Infalt and the hunting public guy, that kind of, space of people, they don't really do much of the trail cameras. They don't, obviously they're big scouters and things, but man, they just go hunt and look at all the success that they have. Like they use historical data in certain states where they're hunting in certain areas. Like, man, they just go. And to have a conversation, one-on-one conversation with like Dan Infalt at the local Hunter Expo, some of those killers, they're just like, they just don't stress about it. They're just like, yeah, I just go out and hunt. Like, okay, that's what I want to get back to. Instead of being like a guy at work that I work with, like, just for example, oh, my trail camera's going off. I'm going to be hunting here. I'm going to be doing this. Man, I just want to get back to simple stuff.
Yep, and the things too. Yeah, and guys in that field, like in that discussion that you just brought up too, they're like, okay, if I bump a deer, there's another deer to be hunted. Right. You know what I mean? And that's the same.
You just go back and do something else.
Yep, and and like to even to take that one step further, it's like we were saying earlier, we both had our those opportunities where we've hit deer or missed deer. It's like, all right, well, there's another chance coming at some point in time. You know what I mean? And that's where, again, what you're saying about being mentally tough, that's where you have to be able to get over it and learn from it and implement what you are there to do. You know what I'm saying? And that's, dude, that's huge. And it's easier said than done. Don't get me wrong, but it might take some time to get there. It's taken me some time to get there, but you definitely can. And when you do, you're going to be like locked in, and you're going to stay locked in. And that's where you want to be.
I started wrestling when I was 5. So mental toughness has always been part of how I go about it. With working out at the gym, work, hunting, with family, anything like that. And that obviously takes into effect that confidence comes in where like you were saying, you bump a deer, the other one's going to come by, or you're going to go set up somewhere else, and who knows. I think we stress ourselves out. It's not like, it's too far away, or I didn't push it far enough. Who cares? Just do it next time. Learn. That's why it's awesome. That's why this sport is so awesome. We learn from our mistakes, and then it's just that much sweeter when we finally get the job.
100%, man. So here's to kind of get into the last part of the conversation, man. So the self-filming thing. So going back to what I was saying earlier, like I do, like your style of things is what I like to consume. It's no thrills or frills, but man, it is a lot of thrills actually, because you get the job done and you post some really good stuff with it. Out of whitetail hunting, before we get into like gear and all that type of stuff, and your thought process around it and all that type of stuff, out of whitetail or turkey hunting, which one do you really enjoy filming more?
I like whitetail hunting better. If you were to say, choose between the two, I would choose whitetail. 9 times out of 10, unless it's turkey season, that would be the one time. But to be honest, man, like fun to film, not even just self-film, but just film a really good turkey. It's so cool. The audio, just whatever's going on, man, you can't beat like a spring meal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously, you can fall, but what I'm saying is a lot of fun to film. Even if you're self-filming, but I filmed a lot of people kill turkeys, and I get stoked. That Virginia hunt with my buddy Matt, who's filming, that stuff's so much fun. And that's the stuff you remember.
Yeah. Dude, that one, dude, your PA one was cool too. Like that was a fun video. So like much fun.
That bird, 2 of them came in, and then you could see the fan in the video fanning out, and I just kept telling myself 10 more yards, and he came in 10 yards, and I'm like 10 more yards. I'm like, I need, but it's so hard to self-film, especially turkey. You can barely move. But yeah, probably to answer your question, probably still.
Yeah.
It's just so.
I think I'm with you on that one, just because like everything you said, I love, don't get me wrong, like that October time frame when the gold and the orange and just that sunrise, it literally is a painting from God, no doubt about it, like with that. But but then growing up to this day, every single year my dad always says there's nothing though like a turkey spring morning.
There's not.
And it just everything comes to life.
I get more excited for turkey season, probably, in the sense of like at least opening day and like those first, because you're like, at least you're gonna hear them. But deer, you never know what you might see or what might happen. Turkey hunt for me, it's a filming wise too. It's just so much fun to go out with a buddy or two, like gone out with my dad, and my brother, times, and just seeing someone else harvest turkey, to me, is like you really can't. I've seen people shoot some nice bucks too, but it's like when that bird comes in and you finally get him great, there's no.
Yeah. No, dude, you're firing me up talking about it, because I was looking back at some of the footage that I was able to get this past year, and oh man, I had I had this hen come in. I have her like zoomed all the way in. Like it looks like she's right there at the screen, and just a perfect live decoy, man. And all of a sudden I just see this fan coming through the timber. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm getting him on film. And I just totally rushed the shot, and I clipped him, but I didn't recover the bird. He ended up being, you could see the one like piece of wood just hit that I hit. I was like, oh, because he was a long beard. And then I ran after him a little bit and couldn't get a follow-up shot or anything like that. He ended up, I honestly, he probably ended up getting killed, because a couple, I want to say like 20 minutes later, I heard boom. And I was like, yeah, all right, it's probably him. And I called Jim, and I was just like, dang it. And then all of a sudden I'm on the phone with him, like whispering. I was like, I'm probably going to head out of here now. And all of a sudden I just hear, pop, 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 pop. I was like, oh, never mind, dude. I'm getting back into it. And these turkeys come in, and I'm looking, I'm like, my gosh, there's like 4 or 5 of them. And I'm like, oh man, they're all Jakes. Like something just in my head was telling me, and I kind of maybe had a shot at the one, and I'm looking, and then I go back and I put the footage in. They're all long beards. I was like, what was I doing? I was just so shooken up, I guess. I don't know. And the one I definitely probably could have had a shot at, but then even the turkey that I did get a chance to tag this year, I was filming, and at like I was calling, and then I went silent, and I was just like, I'm just gonna sit here quiet for a little while. And all of a sudden, just something caught my eye, and there are two birds came in. I was like, dang it, I had no chance of turning the camera. I just didn't, just because the 2 of them were just facing me. And I was like, oh man, I can't move. So that was tough, because like I ended up getting the shot, but like as soon as the gun goes off, the one I didn't shoot, you just see him come running into frame, and then all of a sudden you see the one I did shoot just start barreling. And I was like, so you see the aftermath basically, which is kind of cool. But I'll have to send you a footage of that first day where I whacked that one and didn't recover, but I'll send you some stuff too of that one. But I'm with you, man. So like, what is your setup? Like how, because I need your advice. Like I get down, and again, I get too wrapped up in because I like it, right? It has nothing to do with I think I need this. It's just I like it. As far as like the gear and like the cool other cameras and all that stuff. So like, what is your setup when it comes to this? Because you have main camera, action camera, just run both, and just whatever you like. Are you filming everything? Like what's your process basically?
Yeah, so obviously, like, we all want to get huge story mode, but like you said, um, it's not flashy, it's not crazy, but I get a lot of views, and people seem to like it. And I think it's more of like public style, and I don't copy what they do. It's more of just like go hunt, film, some cutaways here and there, but just get to the hunt. Like, I don't do this huge story mode, like, I plan this to I just got it. I just get to the hunt. People seem to like it. So that started back in actually 2015. I started just filming hunts with a GoPro in my hat, and I did some duck hunts when I lived out in California. When I moved back home, I got a nice camera. We all start with like a muddy camera arm, big heavy thing. Get really good footage for self film. It's just so hard to carry. I filmed that big buck, that shot. I was just using a Canon. I think it was a G1 microphone on top, and I had my GoPro on the tree down at me. And this is like without even really trying, it just all came together. This is something.
Mm-hmm.
Went from there, so now I just Canon. It's just the version of quality. This year I'm going to run the elevate capture. Years.
Yep, good guys over there.
My other great met him in person. But I'll run that this year. Still, for a backup, I have a lone wolf. get that thing tree, use the screw on it, it gets rock solid on there, self-film it, and Manfrotto just fluid just clicks in. Just a Rode mic, standard Rode mic that plugs inside the camera. Then GoPro this year, actually, I just got a couple of new things. You know that tethered, you run tethered?
Yep.
You know the tethered stack and go, I think it's called, or folding.
Oh, the fold and go?
The bow holder.
Mm-hmm.
Got that, because I hunt a lot of land. Not a tree, so I follow the rules. Got that, but I also got the magnetic arm thing for your phone, painted arrow.
Yep.
Afterwards, got that, so I'm going to be using both of those. I'll probably just try my phone at first. Magnet.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a board pocket on there. It's like a second angle for you. GoPro seems to be a solid option, and for me, like, batteries just don't last. I get bored and it lasts for 2 minutes and then they die. So for me, I'll probably throw my phone. You got a deer coming in and it takes 8 minutes to come in. You might have 8 minutes. So a second angle, but at least it will die.
Right.
But yeah, man, like I should do a video on my YouTube season. I probably will. Basically, what I do is get that camera set up, and when I'm standing up in my stand, I usually get it about hip high.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I'm standing, I wish I could show you, but when I'm standing up in the stand, about hip high, so I'm about right here. So all I have to do is deer's coming in, about chest high or hip high, right in the middle. I can easily move that camera to where I need it, get it in there, zoom out a little bit, and just make a shot. So
right.
That's usually what I do. Get it nice and level. Get my second angle camera set up. And I try to film it all. I have deer, especially when I shoot. Try to get all the footage, and I just trim it.
Right. The one aspect, Curt, that I really like that you do, you're able to capture the feel of the hunt without long-winded things.
Yeah.
Like, I sound like probably like such a contrarian because I love talking and all that type of stuff. But like, that's the one aspect that I've learned for myself is try like to get more comfortable being short and concise, especially when it comes to filming, like during the hunt. Just because how many times, I mean, in all honesty, how many times, this is for yourself, this is for the listener, have you watched a random individual make they make a cool picture on their thumbnail of what PA buck, if you're like me, I'll type in PA bow hunting and I just try to watch as many cool PA hunters out there that are filming it, even if it's a 4-minute video and it's just a deer shot. Like I like those. But if 3 minutes of a 4-minute video is of you whispering into camera, I'm sorry, I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's where you could go to your analytics and see like, okay, if a 15-minute video only gets watched 3 minutes, you know what they're watching. You know what I mean? But yeah, so that's where I'm giving you kudos, man, just because you tell the story without quote unquote telling the story. And that's where I want to do a better job at doing, but it's hard, you know what I mean? Cause you're going to have moments where, man, no action today or very little action. And it's like, what are you filming? And it's tough, but I feel like the more you do it, and that's maybe you could even elaborate on that. Like, I guess just maybe the more you do it, the more comfortable you get with it, like just like anything else, and get a feel for maybe the area, and you could maybe elaborate more on in the video where like you maybe in post-production, so you're kind of doing a talk over, you know what I mean? Like there's different ways, I guess, that you could do it without having that camera right here and you being like, it's cold, it's northwest wind, it's this, it's this, and then it's,
To be honest with you, we'll just go over my video from last year. It's just funny because didn't think it would get, almost 20,000 views for it. To be honest, I didn't get the shot on film, and I think you said you watched that one. So basically, what happened was just, when I went in there, I crossed that creek, I pulled out my phone, had my backpack, had my boat with me, had my hang on with me. I pulled out my phone and I'm like walking in right now. I'm in a new area, doing a hang and hunt. Like, you guys know how I do. And I don't really do like these crazy interviews to tree. Hey, like you said, it's 32 degrees and I'm hunting the funnel, and I just get to hunt because there's so many other videos. I try to make my videos a little different. I don't like to do the standard interview and let's get the cutaways of the acorns falling and all this other. I just get right to hunt. So basically, what happened last year is I did that, got in there, and my battery was dead. And I go to film this doe coming in. Wasn't even in the stand for 5 minutes. She's starting to come in. She's milling on apples. And I go to start filming, and battery's dead. Okay, well, I always bring a second, third battery with me, just in case. And this is just me, just being dumb. Like, I usually always check to make sure my battery is good to go, even if it's on like 50%, good to go. I didn't do that day, of course, and came back and got me. So I'm getting down in my bag over here trying to grab my battery. She comes into like 13 yards. She's milling around. She looked at me like 4 or 5 times like this, and my arms down in my bag trying to look at her. And I'm like, okay, well, I can't really move. She kind of goes off. 10 minutes later, not even 10 minutes, because I didn't even have time to change the battery. She's still off to my right, like 20 yards. Here comes a nice 6-point, bumping a different doe in front of me. This is one of the best hunts I've ever had. And, from start to finish, because it was so quick, full action. This buck bumps this doe off 25 yards, up the hill, running, doing his thing, and doing the lip curl, all that stuff. It was just incredible. Didn't get any of it on footage. I'm still milling around down in my bag trying to find my battery. She's still off to my right. I can't move. They go off, and she's still off to my right. This is why I couldn't really do anything, because she kept looking up. She knew something up there. I didn't want her to blow. So I pulled my grunt tube out, did one of these things, because that buck just grunted off the doe up above me. They were at a distance now, probably 50 yards. So I grunted, and literally 30 seconds later, here comes a small buck, came underneath me, and I'm watching him. No footage, because battery was dead. It would have been the most incredible footage. And I still kicked myself, but I obviously had the GoPro on. That's the whole video. Popped the GoPro on before I grunted, and here comes that big 8-point that I shot right down the trail. And I had to draw back and move. He came down and did the thing where I told him he looked up at me, and then took a step or two and I shot. But yeah, no footage, and yeah, so that's the bad part of it. And there's times where you can get really, really good footage, and there's other times like it just doesn't work out. That's self-filming.
Yep, I was gonna say that's the game of self-filming. Yeah, dude.
Clearly, people still like the video because it got, I don't know, 15 or 20,000 views. All it is just the GoPro footage, and then I get the recovery and everything else. But it was still fun. I mean,
I'll tell you what if my good friends that are listening, they're gonna laugh at this one, but the buck ended up in one of my favorite parts, and down by that little creek, you could hear the water flowing, man. It's like I would have loved to have seen what that looked like during the day. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? Because I know you recovered them at night, but my good friends, especially Tom, if you're listening, you're probably laughing just because when we were at Montage Mountain this past year, I'm taking like all the little B-roll of all like the water falls and stuff that was at Montage Mountain at our 3D shoot, and they're like, look at Jeremy who loves his water. Yeah. And everything. Yeah. But that's the thing, like it's relatable, it's Pennsylvania, it's just there's no, again, there was no big thrills of like, editing, and it's just, it is exactly what you said. It's the hunt,
It's
and
just
that's what
me,
I
man.
like to
Just me and
watch.
Simon. Yeah.
Yep.
And if it didn't get the views, then my stuff would change up. But it continues to get the views, like get the comments, and I get people throughout where I live and work and stuff. Like, hey, cool video. But
Yep.
it's just like I hunt down at 2B where I'm gonna go. It's got 6,000 views. It's like all it was boom, right to the hunt. Buck came out of bedding, then some does came out, another buck came
More
out,
bucks.
and then I shot the doe, and it's like people love it. It's just
Yep.
simple to the point. PA public hunting, like
Yeah, I would say if you plan on self-filming or doing any of that type of stuff, kind of the message, what has been my motto since spring up until even right now, and something that Curt, you and I have alluded to already, it's just to keep it simple, right? Just keep it simple and have fun.
Yep.
Just if you could have fun while you're doing it, then that's the best part, because there were times when I've tried to film years ago and I'm like, I hate this. It was just more of a bother. It's just like a Debbie Downer type thing. Whereas, now I just, if you make it a point, great. If you don't, it's all right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just as long as you're happy with whatever, and you could, like you said, you could kick yourself afterwards and be like, oh, I wish I would have had it or whatnot, or hit that damn record button.
Right. Yeah.
But you know what I mean? That you'd rather that and be successful than being like, oh, I missed and I didn't even get that on. You know what I mean? That's a different story. But yeah, I'm with you, man. I keep doing what you're doing, because like you've said, like you have friends and other people that like it and comment and all that stuff, because it's very relatable, and I like the hunt, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, and if anybody, just the last thing here, if anybody has any questions about self-filming, hit me up, shoot me a text,
Yep.
or, hit me up on Instagram or Facebook. I'll answer questions. I get questions all the time about it. Usually it's a bunch of people right before the season trying to figure out what setup they want to do, or any questions you guys have. But for me, the reason why I film is it's fun, and I think last year was the first year in a couple of years I actually enjoyed myself, even though I didn't get full content film. It's just like, man, like going out and doing that. It's what I love to do, and I get slack for it. Man, how do you do that? I carry all this gear, and it's like, because I like to do it. It's fun. I like to watch the hunt again.
Yep. Well, like even going back to what I was saying about like those turkey hunts, like for even like just the other night when I was down here, because long story short, I broke my computer, had to get it refixed and all that type of stuff, and I wanted to make sure I had to back everything up. And I was just like replaying some of those videos, and I was like, thank goodness I got this on film, because even though I wish I would have been able to see that long beard and everything like that, but just watching that hand just come in, dude, just learn so much, and just being able, like you said, man, like reliving that was just a hell of a time. But yeah, dude, I'm pumped for you for this weekend. I can't thank you. I feel like we could just continue to chat, man. Like I said, I was so looking forward to this when you and I, we caught up a couple times over the summer. We're messaging, hey, we got to get together. We got to chat and do all that stuff. And like we were saying, man, life gets busy and crazy, but I appreciate you hopping on here before the season and talking about some of that stuff. And this not only did it motivate me for hunting season, Curt, but it motivated me to go work out tomorrow. It motivated me to record more podcasts and be better with that, man. So I appreciate you. This was a fun conversation, and I appreciate your time, dude. And send me the picture of what that beast will do this weekend.
Let's pray I get it done, because a lot of people are counting. So
yeah, man. Well, dude, where can people follow along, like you were mentioning, on Instagram, on Facebook, as well as YouTube? So Ridge Raised Outdoors on all three?
On all three. Ridge Raised Outdoors. Yeah, if you just type in Ridge and then Raised, it'll come up, especially on YouTube. Yeah, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube is just the thing that you guys follow on there. That's where I was following. Even Instagram and Facebook, I put a lot of stuff on the story just throughout the season.
Yep. Awesome, man. Well, I'm telling you guys, go follow Curt. One of the, obviously, as you can tell in this conversation, just a fun dude and very, very knowledgeable, but also just down to earth, just like hopefully you are. So thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks again, Curt. We'll see you next week. Antler up.